Welcome to the Unit Podcast, where we're uniting Northern Iowa. Today we're going to be doing a round table or round triangle with two representatives from the LGBTQ community. So we first have Craig O'Keefe, and our second is Justine Hank. Craig, would you mind introducing yourself with your name, your major, your identity in the LGBTQ community, your pronouns, anything you feel like you should share?
Yeah, my name is Craig. I'm a senior here at UNI. And I finally realized to myself that I was gay, probably like middle school around then. And like throughout high school, I had like a few girlfriends, as one does. And actually had my first boyfriend my senior year of high school. And so that was scary and exciting. But right now I've been in a relationship for almost 2 years with my partner Miles now, and yeah, it's a good time.
I'm Justine. I am a junior communication major. Honestly, I admitted that I'm bisexual. I've like always known it, but I've always like repressed it growing up as like a super religious person, like it's a sin. And so I don't understand how I didn't realize I was freaking into women. Like, don't get it at all, Justine. Like, you watch TV shows for boobs. Like, get over yourself. No, but like I think it was my freshman year of college when I finally like admitted to myself that I was bisexual, and I've been like super for it ever since, because like I don't know, it was like really hard for me to come out, especially to my mom, because she like immediately told me that like bisexuals don't exist, like you're doing this for attention. So like that was really hard for me to actually do, and like not have a parent support me really sucked. But we're here now because people are great and people do support you.
I know there's a lot of stigma in the bi community about people who when they are bi and they are in a relationship, they have that like straight privilege. Have you ever like experienced that with relationships where like maybe if you were with a woman it wouldn't be accepted, but if you were with a man then like people would assume you're straight?
Yes. So I actually have never dated a woman before, but like I guess it just all depends on the people that you're with. It is really weird because, like, I don't know, like, yeah, I've been with more males in my life than I have females, and, like, especially my family is really big on, like, that stigmatism, basically saying, like, I don't know, like, you actually aren't bi since you're dating, like, a male, but, like, just because I'm dating a male does not mean that I'm not bi, and it's, like,
yeah,
vice versa, so, like, I don't know.
Because, like, just because you're in a relationship, like, even in, like, a straight relationship, like, just because you're dating does not mean, like, you're not attracted to people.
Right.
Like, Bradley Cooper is still amazing, even though you're dating someone.
Yeah.
You know?
Is he bi?
No. Like if you're just because you're in a relationship, doesn't mean that you don't also like find people attractive.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. I don't know. A lot of people, like, the bi community really scares a few people because I think it's just like they just don't understand it. Like, some people just automatically think that it's just like 50-50, but that's just not how it is. Like, it could be 30-70, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
and sexuality has always been on a spectrum.
Yeah. Yes.
I think people who come out as bi or use that as their label like has some stigma, because so many people, to make their like journey through their sexuality and like figure out where they fit and what they want to label themselves as, like that's like a rite of passage for some people, like to start off be like, well, maybe I'm interested in both sexes and things like that. And so like I came out to my friends first in like high school and was like I'm bisexual, and like I actually came out to my sister in high school, and she was just like, well, just don't put a label on it right now, like you're still so young, like you don't need to be anything right now, like just
That's
be
really
you, blah,
cool
blah, blah.
that your sister like responded in that way.
Yeah, she was good, but I think that because so many people like first come out as being bisexual and then like are like only have relationships and are sexually attracted to people of the same gender who are like by definition, I guess you could say, like as a person who's gay, but like they came out first and then as bi and then later went to their label being gay, so people are always like kind of shitting on it and questioning it.
Yeah, I don't know, I did have an existential moment a while ago where I was just like, what if I am a full lesbian? And it scared me a little bit because it was just like, why should I be scared of that when it's just like who I am?
Yeah.
Like I was terrified to come out when I came out. Like I literally like was so worried that the people in my life were gonna like shame me for being like into women, like especially like my female friends, because you know like society is just like, oh, if you're like are into girls, your girlfriends are gonna be like, oh my god, do you have a crush on me? And it's like, no, like I have my type, and like you know if I'm into you, or like point blank period. But like I don't know, my point of existentialism was just like, what if I am a lesbian? And I just like kind of sat down and I was just like, well, why does it matter? At the end of the day, like, I'm into who I'm into. Like, I'm into females and I'm into males. Like, I'm really cool.
Definitely. And that's, like, why a lot of people, like, get really, like, heated up about that kind of stuff, is they feel like, especially with gay marriage isn't, like, two people getting married is not going to affect anyone else's marriage. Right. You know? It just, like, gets me when people are like, it's horrible. It doesn't, you know? And, like, you're married, you know?
My cousin is gay, and both my guy cousins are. Like, my guy cousin graduated from UNI a while ago. So when he started dating his boyfriend, my grandpa would always ask me. He was just like, "Is he gay?" And everyone would like stop communicating. Like, no one would like talk to each other about like the subject. And I was like, "Why does it matter? Why does it matter that that's his boyfriend?"
It's such a small part of people's identity. Yeah. I mean, it is something to be proud of, but like, everybody is so many different things. Right. Like, they're a comm major, they're a student, they're a boy, they're a girl, or whatever they decide to identify as, and, like, their sexuality is just a part of it.
Right.
And who you date with is such, like...
It doesn't matter.
Part. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think... So my other cousin, he just, like, started dating his boyfriend. Like, it's been over, like, 2 years for them now. And so, like, I don't know, because of, like, me standing up for my other cousin, I think he was, like, comfortable actually, like, coming out with our, like, family, because our family is very, like, conservative. Like, you gotta date an opposite gender. And so, like... My mom, when I came out, she literally was like, stop posting things on social media about the LGBT community. Your grandpa's friends with you on Facebook. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And?
You shouldn't live your life dependent on how other people perceive you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also important to remember that our parents, like, we're their babies.
Yeah.
Like, they did all this work for you. They have all of these expectations of, like, who you're going to be, your achievements in life, and, like, they want you to have that big house with the white picket fence and like the beautiful husband or wife with X amount of kids. And like, when you tell them that you're breaking these like expectations, like they actually go through like a period of grief. Like all of like their dreams for you and aspirations like are going to be completely flipped upside down. Like, for sure. It should not, the significance of like who your partner is should not change things that much, but like I can still have kids if I want to. Like, exactly. I can still get married. I can still have a nice white picket fence if I want to. You can still
have the life that your parents want. You're just dating and being with the person that you want to be with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
And they are, like, that does make a lot of sense. Like, they do want you to have the easiest life possible. No parent wants their child to have a hard life. And unfortunately, we live in a society, which has gotten better recently, but that still faces stigma for being in the LGBTQ community. Like, even I went to a private high school, but you couldn't bring them as your date. Like, are
you serious?
Yeah, you couldn't
bring. That's sad.
You had to bring, someone of the opposite gender as a date, which, like... That's wild. Like, why?
Isn't it really disappointing? Like, I don't know, like, with me, especially being such, like, a diehard Christian, and now I'm, like, not at all. Like, my biggest thing is that Christianity's main focus is to, like, love other people. And, like, the fact that my sexuality was the reason that you chose not to love me, and just, like, the whole community. I mean, you can't say the whole Christian community, because it's definitely, like, different parts of that community that are blah, and then different parts of the community that are like, we love this. Why can't people just accept other people? Like, is it that hard to
Exactly. And like, how much of other people's lives affect your day today?
Yes, why do people care so much about other things that don't matter?
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm heated.
I remember being in church and like back in Awanas. Did you guys ever go to Awanas in like elementary school? Well, we watched a video, and it was like a music videos of these chickens and roosters, and it was like roosters like mate with chickens, not other roosters, and it was like this super weird like hetero propaganda. Like, what the hell is going on? And I still like think about this because like
that's ingrained in you.
Yeah, like I remember that, and it was like if roosters like were together, like that would be a sin. Like God doesn't want that, and like you never, how you were like, well, what if I'm a lesbian? Like, I remember.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, being in, like, junior high, middle school, and I was like, shit, dude, like, what if I'm, and I, like, couldn't even, like, say it out loud in my head.
Couldn't even admit it to myself.
No.
I remember when I finally admitted that I was bi, I literally remember it to this day. I was mowing my yard, and I was in our backyard by our deck, and I literally just, like, yelled it. I was just like, I'm bi! And then I just, like, continued on mowing. It just, like, it felt so good. Like, I felt something in me that I never felt before because I was actually, like, admitting to myself that I'm this person.
Yeah, and it's opening the door to, like, letting you have your happiness. Because, like, I've had friends before who talk about coming out as bi and, like, living as their half self when they people perceive them as straight, and, like, living that, like, as a straight person, but then finally having that full identity and being able to embrace their whole self once they've come out.
It's cool.
Actually, what you're talking about, Craig, kind of reminded me, I guess. I'm really interested in media, like production's my major, and representation is something that I'm, like, super passionate about. So what are your guys' thoughts on LGBT representation? It's definitely, like, gotten better recently, but, like, when you were growing up, like, who like, what characters did you, like, identify with, LGBT or not, and like, what are some maybe more recent movies or things that, like, you think do a good representation of the LGBT community?
It's a really hard one.
I remember being younger, and there's this station called Logo on, like, DirecTV, and it's like has, like, shows of, like, with leading characters who are, like, gay or lesbian, and, like, I would be, like, in the basement and, like, secretly watch this station.
I would always watch secretly
I wonder
watch
what's
stuff
going on, or, like, I barely remember Will and Grace.
Grace and Frankie is a great show, though.
Grace and Frankie is now.
I'm trying to think. They're like,
you kind of interject in here, but did either of you watch Grey's? Was that, like, something that you, I guess, grew up watching?
What is it
wait,
called?
Grey's
Anatomy?
No, I never
Grey's
actually watched.
Anatomy? Yes.
No.
Because there's really good representation for,
Yeah,
like,
I've heard, like,
all sorts of people in that show. It's
I've
really
heard
good.
really good things about it. Personally, I have not watched it. I would like to watch it, but
I recommend.
my head right now is, like, full of Bob's Burgers, which is really bad because I'm rewatching it.
But something that I do want to talk about is Love, Simon. Have you guys?
I wanted to go see it,
Oh,
but
it was so good, and it was like the,
I
like,
feel like Craig is
cheesy
about
Fault
to,
in Our
like,
Stars, like,
attack
movie.
someone.
Yeah.
And, like, you've had so many cringy rom-coms, like, obviously with, like, heteronormative stereotypes, but, like, Love, Simon was just that, like, gooey romantic comedy that we needed.
Yeah.
Or that had the representation.
Mm-hmm.
My my only critique of Love, Simon was how quickly they moved through the phase of, like him coming out to, first of all, screw that guy who, like, blackmailed him in
That was
the
the
whole
worst.
movie. I would have been terrified. Like, don't ever hold that over
Someone's head.
ever.
No. Mm-mm.
That happened to me in high
You're
school.
a shitty person,
and it was really scary.
We'll probably see you in hell because we're gay.
Exactly. Oh, jeez.
You were like, yeah, oh, wait, no.
But in Love, Simon, when he, like, comes out to his mom, like, how does that go again? Is she, like, cool with it?
She's cool with it.
Like, a little indifferent?
His dad is kind of like, wait. And then he's like, you know what, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
I, like, ugly cried
Are you-
when I first saw that, just because, like,
Oh my
the
God,
first time I
I'm
came
gonna have
out,
to take off my lashes.
the first time I came out to my mom, we were at a doctor's appointment, and, like, they start asking you, like, the sexual screening questions of, like, are you sexually active? Like, who are you sleeping with? What's their sex? And things like that. And I had lied and just was like, yes, I'm having, like, a monogamous relationship with a female. And then, like, the doctor left, and my mom, like, kept asking me, she's like, who? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you, blah, blah, blah. And so finally I was like, well, you met my friend Ray, like, he's been over a few times, and we've actually, like, been seeing each other for, like, a few months now, and I really care about him, and, like, he makes me happy. And, like, she just, like, immediately started shaking her head and, like, cried and just was, like, kept asking me, she's like, please tell me you're joking, and was just, like, not okay, and, like, begged me not to tell anybody else in our family, and wanted to, like, get started on, like, going to see a counselor and, like, maybe doing conversion therapy. And it's like, you hear about all these, like, cringe, scary
don't
stories,
think it's ever gonna happen,
and then it happens to you, and you're like, fuck. Like,
literally, I remember when I came out to my mom, she literally was just like, I read an article about how bisexuals, like, are only coming out, like, for attention. I, like, sobbed in the bathroom. I was just like, this is why I don't want to tell you things about my life, because I know that you're not going to approve of them. But it's just like, it sucks, because that's your parent, that's your mother, like, the one person that you want to tell, and, like,
she's supposed to be my biggest fan, and she really let me down. So. But anyway, back to Love, Simon.
Olivia's crying over here, guys. I just love you guys.
They just moved through that so quickly, and, like, I know that there's been a few films to come out recently, like Boy Erased, I think, was a really good one, of, like, he comes from, like, a family of faith, and, like, they send him to conversion camp and things like that. And I just, like, that's a narrative that, like, people know exists, but I think it should, like, have more light shed on it, because
it's real.
Sucks.
Like,
it's
like, our vice president literally is in, like, for the electric shock therapy, which is disgusting.
I didn't know it was the electric shock. I just thought it was just in general.
No, electric shock therapy, which is garbage. Like, you can't shock something out of my system. Like,
exactly.
I'm sorry.
Like, think of it as even not related to sexuality. Like, what would shocking someone do in general?
Right. So there's this sidebar. Torture. There's this musical called Next to Normal. I think I've talked about it before. Oh, yeah. Like, the mom's son died, and, like, she goes through electric shock therapy to get, like, over him, and it's so traumatic. Like, when I first saw that musical, I'm, like, bawling in the front row. Oh my god. Ugh.
Did your identity, like, have any factor in deciding, like, that UNI was the place for you to be? Or, like, do you feel more accepted or less accepted at UNI than you did at your hometown?
I lived at home my freshman year of college, and which is when I came out to my mom, and so she really wanted me to, like, not be... She wanted me to go to school and, like, basically, like, make friends or whatever, and, like, find a girlfriend. And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to college, like, I'm going far away. Like, I did not have the best relationship with my parents, like, when I left to go to college. So I was like, 2 hours away sounds great. And so here I am now.
Well, I literally live up the street from UNI, like, my parents' house. I think I just chose this place because it was safe. Not, like, regarding LGBT community, but, like, just, like, in general, because I have no idea what the heck I want to do with my life still, and, like, UNI is able to, like, kind of provide that stepping stone into adulthood. But I don't know, I think UNI is a good, I don't know, they're the reason why I came out. Like, I felt more comfortable because I made a lot of friends with, like, members of this community, and they, like, kind of, I don't know, shed some light on my life a little bit about my sexuality. So that's cool.
Are there any times you've been, like, harassed on campus or, like, through college parties or things like that?
No, not really.
Okay, that's good.
Honestly, I just, like, if someone did harass me, I feel like I'm a strong enough individual that I would be like, you need to shut your mouth or go outside. Like, get away. Because it's just not cool. And normally some of the parties that I do go to, a lot of the people there are, you know, in the LGBT community, so we're all just, like, kind of as a collective whole getting trashed, which is really nice. So, like, we all build each other up instead of like break each other down. Have you?
There was only one time I could remember, and, like, I was still trying to, like, figure out my identity for myself, like, in all aspects of life. And so my sophomore year, I was in the Greek community in a fraternity, and, like, there'd be times where I'd, like, catch myself, like, either, like, saying weird things, or, like, when we, like, drink a lot, I'd get nervous about, like, how I acted or how I presented myself. So, like, there's a lot of self-monitoring, but remember like one time very vividly, we were all at the house and somebody had like made a sexual joke about something, and I was just like said something along the lines of like oh my god, stop, or something like that. And then like 4 or 5 of them like started mimicking me and like added like a really feminine like tone to it, and it was just like I was mortified. I was like, fuck.
People
So I don't know if
trash.
they were like purposefully like trying to attack me and my like the way I talked and my identity, or if they were just trying to like mess around. Like I thought about it like for the rest of the day and was like so embarrassed to talk anymore. So, but I'm no longer in that fraternity, so that's okay.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But feeling protected on campus, like yeah, I would think we're a pretty liberal school out of most of them.
I think we're not afraid to like have a voice, which is really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that it could be better. I don't know.
What I think is really bold of you and I is like we had our dragaganza, and that was like no one even batted their eye. Like it was a really great event. Everyone like embraced it. And then I don't know if you guys heard about, but Mount Mercy University in Cedar Rapids, they proposed the same event, their campus activities board, and they had gotten everything organized, and then like the day before the event, the president shut it down.
That's disgusting.
They
It
a
was-
religious school. Not that that matters. But
I don't know.
private.
Mount Mercy.
It's a private school
It
for
is-
sure.
I don't know.
Mercy, so probably.
Maybe.
But anyway, they like had the drag queens, like they talked to all of them, they had a venue, and so what they did is they canceled the event, and they said that they could have a Q&A event about sexuality, something like that, like
Mount
something.
Mercy is a Catholic liberal arts university.
Yeah, but I don't know if you guys read up about that, but like we had our drag event and I loved it. It was super fun. No one batted an eye about it, and I remember reading the thing about. But like that's so sad that even now, like think about being either a member of the LGBTQ community or a drag queen that goes to Mount Mercy and knowing that your that your administration doesn't support your identity.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking because, like, why do other people get to be supported? And just because of my sexuality, like, I'm less, you know?
Yeah. And, like, even, like, although I know that drag culture is a huge part of LGBTQ community, like, why does that, like, you don't have to be gay. I talked about this in my interview, to be a part of being a drag queen. Like, women are drag queens regardless of identity, and, like, why they decided that was something that was unacceptable.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Because you're allowed to put on plays and things, and there's so many shows where they have like a woman dressed up as like a man or something, and like
Or vice versa.
Yeah, if that was to be okay, but like having a drag queen wasn't. I don't know. I think
It's very common in like operas too, where
Yeah.
the like women sopranos or altos will like play the tenor part that's supposed to be.
And traditionally in Shakespeare's time, like women weren't allowed to be on stage, so like men would just
Yeah,
play all
they
the
would
roles.
be. Yeah, men would
So
be
like,
women.
and there's some roles like like I know a lot of them are very comedic, but there's a role in Importance of Being Earnest that's like very typically a man playing an older woman, and in Hairspray when they have John Travolta's role, which is like
yes.
I mean I know that's a caricature of a person, but still like I don't know. I think it's just so interesting that like you and I did not bat an eye at all at that event, but Mount Mercy shot it down, and they shot it like they didn't even like they had them plan the event and then shut it down the day of.
That sucks. Because they put all that work and effort, and people were like ready for this. They were like all hyped up for it, and then it was just like, nope. Okay, so this was our last podcast of the series. We hope you enjoyed all of our other episodes. Please listen to our other classmates episodes that are also going to be on this YouTube channel.